welcome to another episode of the I Believe podcast. I am your host, Bo Bartholomew, and as you've probably guessed from the title of this episode, it is going to be a bit different. I should preface that this episode is 100% my opinion, and the script is not written out in full like all of the previous scripts. The editing quality is going to probably not be as good as it has been in the previous episodes as well. Anyways, along with that, my views do not reflect the views of Davis County School District or Viewmont High School. Let's dive into our topic of school dances with a bit of history. The first school dances were proms from the 19th century, held for upperclassmen in prestigious colleges such as Harvard. It was seen as a social event to check and teach manners. Over time, the tradition was extended to juniors. That is when high schools started to catch the trend. Like a virus, it spread across the nation. From sea to shining sea. Then, more dances have been created to unite the student body with a fun social event that doubles as an energizing workout. School dances have become one of the most profitable businesses, following shortly behind weddings and right above funerals. Traditions have grown over time and dances have become cultural staples, and that is where we are today. So let's talk about this format. For opinion-based episodes, I will create a list of topics and then randomly yap about my beliefs on these topics. Not very much scripting, but lots of thought. It will make more sense when you hear it. Let's start off with our first topic. Dance theming. It has gone way downhill. I think the best theming that my school has ever done for school dances was A Night in Hollywood, and that was my sophomore homecoming, not prom. Ooh. All the other themes have been like, our upcoming homecoming is A Night in Athens. We're the Vikings, and if history tells us anything, Athens and Vikings do not mix very well. In fact, it would cause a war. And so I think the student body officers are doing great. They got some good ideas, but they should probably make sure that this theming is something that we actually want to do. Comparatively to what like Farmington or Woods Cross or Bountiful are doing, yes, some of their dances don't have themes. Great. But let's make sure that if we're doing a theme, that it makes sense. Okay? Okay, cool. Next up is the culture around asking someone to a dance. Now, this is the thing that I have the biggest problem with, because I hate the culture around it. One, yes, create a cutesy poster. Cutesy. Like, fun saying, if you're doing something with said person, like if you're both in a show together, yes, make a cutesy poster that will include a joke about the show. If you have an inside joke, use it on the poster. But it shouldn't be this huge thing. Like, my parents keep trying to get me to fill balloons up with helium and fill it with random puzzle pieces, so they have to find out who asked them by popping a balloon, all the pieces exploding like confetti, and then they have to piece it all together. I might try that for winters. We'll find out. But the worst part of the culture of asking somebody to a school dance is that, especially for girls and these high formal dances such as prom and homecoming, there are some girls who will be asked to homecoming 3 months before school starts, at the end of last school year. That's a problem. I don't think that a person should be thinking about, oh, I've been asked to homecoming, let me find a dress for 3 months. You don't even know the theme yet. You don't need to ask. Just don't do it. Nuh-uh, stupid. And then the fact that, I knew somebody who was asked to prom last year before winters. sorry, I should also explain that our school has 6 school dances. Homecoming, which is a boys' asks. Sadie's, which is the Halloween dance, and that is a girl's ask. Then there's Winters, which is a boy's ask. Sweethearts, which is a girl's ask. Morp, which is a girl's ask. And then Prom, which is a boy's ask. And you should not be asking somebody to Prom before you even ask somebody to Winters. Or if you're one of those people, you've probably already asked somebody to Winters before school started. But then don't do that. Don't ask somebody to a dance a bajillion years in advance. There is an acceptable time frame, which for me, I 100% believe that it's a month and a half before said dance to 2 weeks before the dance. And the only reason why I have that out all the way a month and a half in advance is because there are people out there that ask 6 months in advance, 3 months in advance. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. It's stupid. Don't be one of those people. And then responding. It doesn't have to be super expensive. Like, just respond. And respond within a week. Because the longest I ever had to wait for a response was a month. And the shortest I ever had to wait for a response was 24 hours. And yeah, it's wonderful. Along with that, just don't exert yourself too much with the poster, especially if you then find out that she was already asked to the dance because some idiot asked her 6 months in advance and then she just hasn't made it her entire personality. Yeah, no. And make sure that you make it public when you do get asked so that you don't have people thinking that they're going to ask you. Anyways, sorry about the door. That is the asking culture. It is toxic. It is stupid. Let's move on to our next point. Are you looking for your dream home? If so, contact Evers & Evers Real Estate, where we want you to be happy for Evers & Evers. I'm joking. Evers & Evers Real Estate is a licensed company through the Walt Disney Company for the Haunted Mansion movie from the 2000s. Don't call them. Don't call me. Don't tell them that I used this. It's funny though. Have fun. Guess what, guys? No life update this time because, well, I feel like this entire episode is a life update. So, with that, that's it for the life update. Okay, so now that I've listed off the school dances that my school does, let's talk about each of them and how they actually exist and why and if I think they still should. Now, we start off the year with Homecoming, which is a boys' ask. It is a formal, and it is held in the school gym. Now, this is one of those like cultural tradition school dances. It's great and wonderful, and it's really hard to do a hoko wrong, but I've seen it done wrong. I do like that there's like a homecoming game, a homecoming parade, there's a tailgate, and then it's a really good dance to introduce the school dances to the sophomores, or freshmen, depending on school areas. But it's great. And then up next, after Homecoming, is Sadie's, which I don't remember the history behind why we call it the Sadie Hawkins dance, and I'm not going to remember that history. But Sadie's is held in October and is kind of seen as the Halloween dance. It is a non-formal dance. Previously, you could actually wear costumes, but they got rid of that, sadly. And now, Sadie's I was asked to last year, but she didn't get work off. Don't do that. Make sure that you have work off, guys. And, but from what I have heard, it also was really dumb because it's during football season, and so they had the football game up, and everybody was watching that. And I think Sadie's would be great if it was like held better. And like there aren't any events that connect to Sadie's other than Halloween, but at least do something. Do something fun. We don't need to just watch college football instead. Up next is Winters. Now, this one I have previously stated to many of my friends is my favorite. It's a boys' ask, and it can get pretty fun. It's usually run by the PTA. My only problem with the Winters dance is that it isn't popularized. It's actually very busy during that time of year, and so nobody can go to it most of the time. It's a very low attendance dance. It's not as hyped. Like, yes, everybody wears pajamas and it's really fun, but then like, do more, decorate better. Don't just. Last year they just shoved us in a gym. Uh, like at least homecoming when they shove us into a gym, it is decorated. Same with Sadie's, it's decorated. But no, Winters is never decorated, which is kind of sad. And it's really cold, so the day is a bit harder to figure out. Then the next school dance is Sweethearts. That one is run by the cheerleaders, so guess what? It's a girl's ask. Now, Sweethearts is a formal, and from what I've heard, it's pretty fun. I personally do like the formal dances more because it gives more of an outline of what you should wear. And it takes away a bit of the thinking that causes stress. Now, last year's Sweethearts was held in February, and it was snowing. It was really fun to see all the pictures where like everybody's standing around and it's snowing. I think snow makes really wonderful pictures. It's great, but you have to not cringe from the cold of the snow. And all of the pictures that I have seen from last year at Sweethearts, everybody was cringing from the cold of the snow. So it might be something to consider about if it's going to be cold. Be ready for it. Next up is Mort. I don't really know when that is, where it is. It's a girl's ask. This is, for me at least, the one that I don't know anything about. I've heard it's fun, but I've also never seen any pictures from it. So who knows? Maybe it doesn't even exist, and I'm just making up a dance because I can. And then the final dance of the year, the one that I talked about in the history of school dances, prom is huge. It is a great dance. I went to my sophomore prom. I skipped over my junior prom because I was poor and I decided to spend my money on something else and not be poor. Um, but it's a great dance. My only complaint about prom is that you should not rent a warehouse and have it in a warehouse. Uh, and make sure that the area that you have your school dance in for prom is large enough to accommodate your student body that is going to be being there. And so, yeah, I last year they rented a warehouse, and I didn't see very many pictures from it because it just sounded stupid. And then the year before, they rented a private box from the University of Utah football stadium, and it was a lot better, but it was tiny. It was really, really hard to move around in there, really crowded. Um, so, yeah. Now, let's talk about some quick things that could improve school dances and some things that they're already doing great. So far, I think that the theming is great, but the thing that they could improve with that is that they should like decorate more and like stick to a theme and have your entire everything waltz around that theme. I do think that they should be supplying snacks at school dances and have lemonade instead of just water, because just having water is not going to help me continue to have energy for an entirety of 3 hours. Or, yeah, I'm not going to have energy for 3 hours if I am just getting water. School dances need to have danceable music. For all of the school dances I have gone to, there have been a total of 7 songs per dance that were danceable. Now, how are you supposed to dance to a full 3 hours of non-danceable music? That is a fabulous question, and I'm still waiting for an answer. Now, if somebody would like to tell me in the comments how the crap you're supposed to dance to non-danceable music, please tell me, because I need to figure that out. I've been wanting to ask them to do this for years. Imagine for me, for a second, that you're at a school dance, and all of a sudden they start playing this. Would be interesting, isn't it, to have a waltz? Now, this was traditionally what school dances would have danced to. And now I'm wondering how we got rid of it. Why did we remove the waltz? It's historical that at a dance you would do a waltz or a slow dance that is to non-popularized music. And I think we should bring that back. We should at least do 1 or 2 dances with non-popularized classical waltzing music and teach some formal dancing instead of just the up and down. Teach them how to waltz and tango. And we don't need to do a tango, but teach the students how to waltz and how to experience other types of dancing than what you would do at a concert. Now, some of you might recognize the song that just started playing. It is from the last episode of Season 4 of my favorite TV show, Only Murders in the Building. Now, I decided to put this in here just to show that there are different types of waltzes, some of which are actually used in popular media. This song in particular is not actually a classical song. It's called Memories Fade. It was written by the person who writes all the music for Only Murders in the Building, and it is a pretty good waltz. I'll let you guys listen to the rest of it. So there's so many different types of classical music that I don't even think it would be that difficult or that strange to play classical music at school dances. Just maybe teach the kids how to waltz, and it would probably make your dances even more fun. Add some flair in there. If you have any suggestions or comments for school dances, you can put those in the comments as well. I want to see your craziest suggestions and hot takes about school dances, so please tell me. Okay, continuing on, let's talk about cost and affordability. I do not think a school dance should cost more than $15. I think it is absurd that my school is charging $25 per ticket to go to a dance in their gym with decorations that have most likely been sitting in a closet for years, readily at their disposal and ready to be used. And then they're still forcing us to pay $250 to just be in that room. Like, the teachers are already being paid. We don't need to pay them to be chaperones. It shouldn't cost the definitely well over $3,000 that they receive for every dance from the students paying for tickets. It shouldn't take that many. Now, I did some quick math, and I found that even if only 150 people went to the dance, that would still be 75 tickets sold. And 75 tickets multiplied by $25 would still equal $1,875, which I think is well over enough to actually do a dance, but maybe there are different costs that I don't know of. And I think that's fine. But the cost seems a little bit interesting compared to how much we get. But I guess if it can be rationalized, it shall be rationalized. Let's talk about other costs. The costs of going to dinner. Now, I am one of those weird people who thinks that the boy should pay for everything, or the person who asks should be doing the paying. But I also think that if you're going as friends, I think it's okay to maybe split up the cost to make the cost more reasonable. For example, me and my friend are going to homecoming together, and we've decided we wanted to split up the cost because we're going as friends, and it's going to be, we're legitimately calling it our HOCO hangout. And I think it's great. And so dinner, don't go to some really expensive place. For my sophomore prom, I got to make no decisions at all because people were interesting. And one of my friends decided that we were going to go eat at this place in Salt Lake. And he's like, oh, it's pretty cheap. Now, other people's definitions of cheap are way different than mine. Because when I got there, the cheapest item on the menu was $27. The most expensive item on the menu was $150. Now, by some miracle, everybody got the $27 thing. So I didn't end up spending over $100, but it was still close to $60 worth of dinner. And that is expensive. Pick somewhere cheap, like Olive Garden is somewhat cheap comparatively to other somewhat fancy restaurants. Um, Texas Roadhouse, that is probably my favorite one to go to for dances because it feels cheaper than it is. Like, you feel like you're paying less for something that you should be paying more for. And the food quality is awesome. Don't waste your entire dance budget on food. Um, and also, let the girl order whatever she wants. You don't need to be there and be like, no, we're trying to spend under this amount. I have never said that to anybody. And I always order like the cheapest thing on the menu so that the girl can order whatever she wants. Even if like I feel like I'm spending a lot, at least I didn't double that by ordering something super expensive. Like shouldn't feel like a burden. Don't worry, it isn't. Okay, day dates. Let's talk about those costs. Don't go out and spend $700 to do something. Yes, I have witnessed this 14 times. And yes, I have seen entire prom groups go and pay for a day pass at Lagoon, which is $100 each, and they had 27 people in their group, and only 2 people had a Lagoon season pass. That's like $2,700 and insane. Don't go and spend a bajillion dollars on a day date that you're barely going to remember next week because you were barely there mentally. You're there to be with your friends. Come up with something that you can do with your friends and go and do it. It doesn't have to, you don't even have to spend money. Go do a hike. I really have wanted to do a hike for one of mine, but I also don't have the energy to go and do a hike for a day date. Okay. Oh, this is going to be going into danger territory with dresses and ties and tuxedos. Girls, spend whatever you want. Whatever makes you feel pretty. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, make sure that you ask the girl for just a photo of a color in her dress. It doesn't have to be the entire dress. It doesn't have to be really much. Just make sure that you ask her for the color of her dress, and if you need more clarification on tone or shade, ask her to send a photo of part of the fabric, and then go and get a tie. A wonderful tie that's cheap. There are some cheap tie places, at least here in Bountiful. Siegel Book is wonderful. Go and get a cheap tie within that, like, that matches that color. It doesn't have to be that expensive. And so, yeah, you don't have to spend a bajillion dollars on things. Don't go buy a new suit for every single dance. You don't have to buy a new dress for every dance. Go to DI. I went to DI the other day and my sister found dresses that she wanted to wear to dances. But mom said no, so she didn't get any. Yeah. And then for the dances where you wear clothes, such as Sadie's or Winter's or Mort, don't purchase expensive clothes. You don't have to go showing your wealth, guys. Don't flaunt your wealth at a dance because you can. That's legit all this section is going to be called. Don't flaunt your wealth at a dance because you can. Don't. Please don't. We do not need to purchase a limo. Do not purchase a limo. You don't need it. It's not that cool. You look like a brat. You don't need to rent a limo. Please don't. Floral arrangements. Do not purchase floral arrangements from professional companies. They are scamming you. That is all I have to say. For only one dance did I ever purchase a corsage. And it came to me falling apart. The flowers were a quarter of the size that they had advertised. And the color was off. Extremely. I asked for lilac, and they gave me turquoise. Now, for those of you who don't know, those are on opposite sides of the color wheel and would clash horrendously. There were more leaves in that corsage than there were petals on the flowers. It was insane. You can do that if you want, but a small suggestion is to learn how to make your own corsages and boutonnieres. They are really, really cheap to make. They are really fun. You can make it as cool as you want. Buy some cheap flowers from Walmart. Buy some supplies from Walmart. Throw it together, and it will be awesome. Ever since that first HOCO where the floral corsage came horrendously ruined, I have made, or me and my mom have made corsages for all the rest of my dances. And they are lovely. Like, you can make them as big or as small as you want. I personally go towards big because it lowers the number of like flowers wasted. And when you have flowers left over for your corsage, you put them in a bouquet and you can give them to your date when you pick them up. That is what I do. It's a wonderful thing. It's lovely. Now, on to our final matter of business that talks about cost. Photos. Professional photography is not needed. Please don't go out there and spend $25 on somebody who will take a total of 8 photos. I'm talking about my sophomore prom, guys, because I didn't make any decisions. For all of the dances where I have made decisions, we have had my Aunt Christine, who is a wonderful photographer, take all of our photos. Now, not only did we end up getting way over 30 photos, a couple, in different locations, we would also, it's wonderful quality. You don't really need to edit photos, especially when they're taken with, a really fancy camera. If you get somebody with a fancy camera, you don't need to edit them. You can just take the photos, and if you got the lighting right and you got your camera settings on, it's going to look great. Do not spend $25 on a person who is going to take a total of 8 photos, take 7 weeks to edit them. Don't do that. No. I have always done my Aunt Christine. She takes the photos, is really nice about it, does a whole bunch of different photos. She puts them all on a Google Drive, and then she edits a few of the really good ones. Just fixing some light correction and color correction, and they turn out amazing. Not only that, but we also get them 3-4 days after the dance, and then we end up with these wonderful photos that we can throw on our Instagram, within a timely manner. I hated the experience that I had with photographer for my sophomore prom. It was really stupid because she took so much time doing individual couple photos that she barely had enough time to do the final 2 couples, one of which I was. And we had 2 photos per couple as just a couple photo, and then 2 photos of our group all together. And it was a total of 8 photos, because we did just boys, just girls, and then there was a walking, and then she took 2 of those. And it was insane. I hated the fact that I spent $25 on that, and it's $25 I will never get back because that was stupid. Okay, well, now that we've ranted about the cost and about all that fun stuff, let's just talk one final thing. Go to all these dances. They are wonderful experiences that you will most likely remember forever and always. My ideology, at least for school dances, is that I'm going to try to go to every single one that I can, because every boy that goes is another girl that gets to go and have a fun night. That's why I try to ask somebody to all of the boys' asks. Now, I know that I don't get asked to any of the girls' asks. I really don't care about that because it's not up to me. But go to these dances. Ask people to these dances. Have fun. Do fun things. Be safe. Be good. And really, truly, that's it. That's all there really is. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the I Believe podcast. It was really great to have you guys and to legit just rant about one of the hottest topics at Viewmont High School, especially during this time of year. A few quick reminders. Remember to access our website to tell us how we can improve. Remember to be curious always. Remember to leave a comment, rate us, everything, all of the above. A reminder about our Halloween episodes starting the first week of October, which at this point will be in 2 weeks. That is insane. I can't wait for those episodes. They are already insane, and they are just barely scripted. It's crazy. You guys will not believe all the stuff that we talk about, because it's impossible to describe. Anyways, join me next week. The episode topic is currently undecided, but join us on Instagram and find out the quickest way possible. And with that, I can't wait to have you.